Hello and welcome to RIA News. Joining us now to talk about a recent merger is Phil Fiore, CEO, Executive Managing Director, and co-founder of Procyon Partners. Phil, it's great to have you with us. For starters, could you tell us a little bit more about your firm's merger with Pivotal Planning Group?
Yeah, Jenna, so it's great to be here. Thank you very much for including Procyon and Asset TV. Plainly said, it was just two firms, two wonderful firms, quite frankly, that came together, both of which didn't need each other, which I think made the merger much more striking for each other. But we found that there were so many synergies, Jenna, as we were coming together, that it just made sense. I mean, I know it sounds a little trite, and the old adage is that 1 and 1 is 3. In our case, 1 and 1 is 5. I mean, it's incredible to see how we thought about the client experience similarly. We actually executed investments very similarly. We're planning based as a firm, and the way that we really hold a high standard to the culture that is being driven out of Procyon, and not only within Procyon, but the culture even from a client experience standpoint. There were so many similarities. It was like we couldn't not do that transaction, quite frankly. So it's been wonderful for all of us. And prior to the merger, just to be very, very frank, we had worked together for a couple of years on large 401ks together. So it wasn't as if we just decided to get together one quarter and made it happen. It was 2.5 years in the making before we actually did it last May.
And what was that initial spark, Phil? As you said, both firms stood on their own as 1 and 1. But how did you realize that when you added them together, as you said, that they would equal 5? What was kind of the initial push that made you go there?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and quite frankly, I think what we both as independent firms started to really focus on and understand was what was it like transacting with each other, right? Was it comfortable? Was it similar? Well, do we think about things? Do we value the same things the right way, right? And that almost happened at hello, right? It was very clear that we thought about the business and the way we go about business very similarly right from the start. So that was awesome. Then it got to a place where Pivotal and the partners of Pivotal were thinking about expansion and adding resources to their team. And at Procyon, we were doing the same. And so I quite frankly sat back for a second. I said, does it make sense for us to come together as one entity and therefore have a bunch of shared resources? And, you throw that lob out there and you see if it catches. And it caught, luckily for us, from the Pivotal partners. And we spent months on collaborating on what that could look like. And here we are.
And honing in on Procyon Partners, you're coming up on your 5-year anniversary. Congratulations, first of all. What have been some of the biggest lessons learned over that 5-year period that you could share with our viewers?
I grew up in the wirehouse world, and every time I talked to someone in the independent space while I was in the wirehouse world, what they told me unequivocally, and every time I talked to them, was they wish they did it earlier. What I've learned is that I wish I did it earlier. It's been such a rewarding experience. I mean, listen, I'll be honest. The first couple of years, you're drinking through a fire hose. You're trying to figure out all the stuff they need to figure out. But those types of stresses are your stresses because you're building value for your own business, right? It's very different than having those stresses for someone else, right? You're having it for yourself, you're having it for your team, you're having it for your partners, you're having it for your family. It's very, very different. So although we drank through the fire hose for the first couple of years, it was a welcome drink because it was our fire hose that we were drinking through, and now fast forward, to almost our 5th year anniversary, we're just getting to a place where we're certainly hitting our stride. I'd probably tell you, Jenna, that we probably hit our stride, over the last couple of years, where the business is really humming, both internally from our infrastructure standpoint and from the marketplace and other FAs and other team members wanting to join Procyon. And now we're thinking about how to ultimately better serve our clients and better serve our team. And that's what we're constantly thinking about. And that's what all the partners of Procyon are always challenged challenging the firm to think about as we think about the next 5 years.
And finally, Phil, fast forwarding to those next 5 years, what's in the pipeline and how are you working towards your goal of building out other verticals?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things to think about from a Procyon perspective. I think you'll see Procyon happily wave its flag throughout the Eastern Seaboard. We're a Northeast headquartered firm, and so it's very reasonable that a lot of our clients head down south in the winter. So we currently have an office in West Palm Beach. I think that you'll see us have additional offices in Florida, certainly. But I think you'll also see us come up the Carolinas and up through Washington, Pennsylvania, and certainly Jersey, and up through Boston. I think it makes sense for Procyon to think about the Eastern Seaboard as its ultimate home. And that's from an RIA and an FA perspective. Beyond that, though, Jenna, and I think you mentioned the word verticals. The way that we're thinking about the business very simply is that we want to holistically serve both our private wealth clients and our institutional clients. And so to that end, if we're sitting with a 401k committee and we're talking to them about their 401k plan that we consult on, how are we not having the employee benefit conversation with them about their healthcare, right? And so last June, we happily launched Procyon Benefits to be able to handle that for our corporate clients. We just launched in January of this year, Procyon Tax. Kind of the same thinking as we're sitting at the kitchen table with our private wealth clients. How are we not talking about or helping them with their taxes, right? And I think as we think about this more holistically, we want to obviously serve our clients more holistically, but I also think our clients are looking for a place that they can go and a single place that they can go to get all the things that they're being served with around the financial services markets, if that makes sense. And so you think about, certainly accounting, you think about property and casualty insurances, you think about trust services. I think you'll see Procyon develop other verticals that can better serve our clients the way that they want to be served. And Procyon Benefits and Procyon Tax are just a couple of examples of those that we already built.
Well, Phil, congratulations, and thank you for joining us.
Our pleasure. Thank you, Jenna. Really appreciate it.
And thank you for watching. Once again, that was Phil Fiore, CEO, Executive Managing Director, and co-founder of Procyon Partners. I'm Jenna Dagenheart with Asset TV.